On a quiet Wednesday night, three South African police officers embarked on a journey that was never meant to end in tragedy. What started as a routine trip from Bloemfontein to Polokwane spiraled into a national mystery that gripped the country, and ended with a grim discovery beneath the rushing waters of the Hennops River. Who were they? What happened that night? And how did a simple drive turn into a haunting disappearance? This is the story of Constables Cebekulu Linda, Kiamokgetwe Bias, and Boipele Senoge, their final movements and the desperate search, and the heartbreaking end. It was Wednesday evening, the 23rd of April. Constable Cebekulu Linda, 24 years of age, a member of the crime intelligence in the Free State, began picking up his fellow officers. First, he fetched 20-year-old Boipelo Senoge from her home in Mangaung. Though not assigned to the deployment, Senoge joined the trip, reportedly due to a romantic relationship with Linda. Later that night, just before 10 p.m., Linda picked up 30-year-old Kiamokgetwe Bias from her home in Turflacht. The three were now en route to Polokwane using a white state-owned VW Polo. The first recorded stop was around 10 minutes past 10 p.m. at Edgen, Heidedal in Bloemfontein, a short break before hitting the long road north. By 1 a.m., early Thursday morning, CCTV captured them at Engen Krasmere in Lenasia area. Bias stepped out from the driver's seat wearing a hoodie and entered the store. It was raining heavily. This would be the last confirmed footage of the trio. After leaving the petrol station, their vehicle passed three e-toll gantries around 2 a.m. They crossed the Kingfisher and Owl gantries, heading deeper into Gauteng. At 2 a.m., Bias sent a final message to her husband. A few minutes later, all communication was lost. The vehicle's tracking signal, along with the three officers' cell phones, went dark near the Shell Ultra City in Midrand. What happened next was a mystery.
The accident looks like it did happen around 02/2022. Of course, the signal of the tracker that it went up to 5 o'clock, at this stage we cannot deny or accept that, but we can take it that probably it is the case. One we have to take note probably that maybe the battery on the car took time to, even in the water, it took time to lose signal. That we are not those experts. We can't really argue against the tracker company or what they are saying. But however, what we know is that yes, around 02/22, we do have a Sunroll camera that is at Brakfontein interchange that have captured the car passing there. So we presume immediately thereafter, the car went then into the water, and yes, the cell phones the signal did go off immediately thereafter.
Naledi, every case has its own merits. I mean, a specific case, a specific incident would not even look like another incident that may have occurred. And I think in this regard, as we have seen the efforts that were made by the police, we need to appreciate those efforts that they have done. Because if you were tracing clearly when the National Commissioner got to the scene in terms of how the investigators were taking him through, and even, the members of the media were giving us, an ear to that, you could check clearly that, what they were explaining about where the cell phones, the last pinpoint, and in terms of one member who was trying to access their banking app on their phone at a specific time. So that clearly shows that the multidisciplinary, inclusive of the collaboration, inclusive of private security and other stakeholders, it really helped in order to really look and be able to trace and look on what really has happened that led to that vehicle ending up, to be at that scene, if indeed it got there and the bodies were found at a later stage. So we from our perspective, we are quite confident in terms of, the issue, the involvement that was shown, and also the dedication that was shown.
A lot is being made out of this case, especially by the general public, as you can imagine, given the gravity of the case and the circumstances under which the officers disappeared in. Some people suspect foul play, some people suspect that there was an inside job, especially given the fact that the officers were part of a crime intelligence unit, which I think is a bit unfair and a tad bit insensitive at this point.
Unfortunately, it just remained to be painful for the fact that 3 police officers and another police officer whom it is not known, another member of the SAPS who it is not known on what really has happened to them, that they have lost their lives in that type of an incident. I think the lessons that we should take from there is to face the reality that if you are a police officer in South Africa, you need to know that whether you are on or you're off duty, you are faced with danger. Because if criminals happen to get hold of you, they try to rob you, they try to kidnap you, they try to do something to you, then they realize that you are a police officer. Your life, it is even more, it will even be more in danger, because they know that, anything can happen. I mean, you are trained, and there's anything that could happen. The reaction at a later stage, if they are to spare your life, then, you could be able to trace back, and them coming to face the might hand of the law. So it is quite a difficult situation. The lessons that we are taking from here and going forward,
given the gravity of the situation, the families who at the point were still looking for answers for the missing SAPS members, there's certainly a lot of conspiracy theories on social media, some of which I'll post here. The good thing is that the SAPS has pulled out all the stops to get to the bottom of this case, which I think is a good thing. I also saw social media outcry as to why is it that when the police officers go missing, the SAPS is now able to pull out all the stops. But I think it was imperative, especially for this case, given that they disappeared under suspicious conditions, that the SAPS gets to the bottom of this case.
The president, Matamela Ramaphosa, says he's confident the police will find out exactly what happened to the 3 constables from the Free State. Ramaphosa has paid tribute to the fallen police officers. Authorities have pulled their bodies and vehicle from the Hennops River in Tshwane. A detailed investigation into what really happened here is currently underway.
And of course, today we also pay our condolences to the 3 other workers, police constables who died a few days ago, who died really tragically. We extend our condolences to their families and say to their families, we as a nation and also as a police service will continue to give our full support, and I do hope that the South African Police Service do succeed in actually finding out exactly what happened. I have full confidence in the South African police in doing their work and doing it properly and to finality.
Days passed, hope dwindled, but on Monday, divers from the SAPS and Tshwane Emergency Services made a grim discovery in the Hennops River near Centurion, approximately 10 kilometers from the last recorded signal. First, a silver Renault Kangoo panel van was found submerged 7 meters deep below the surface. It belonged to another SAPS employee who contained a male body. Nearby, a second male body was recovered, wearing red pants matching Linda's clothing from that morning. That same evening, a security guard spotted a body floating in the river. It was a female wearing a white Apple Watch, just like the one seen on Sinohle earlier that night. By Tuesday morning, police located vehicle debris along the N1 just before the Hennops River bridge. It was clear the VW Polo had plummeted into the river. Later that afternoon, Bai's body was found under a bridge on Blackwood Street. less than a kilometer from Senoka's location. By Tuesday evening, all 3 officers had been identified by their families. On Thursday morning, the final piece of the puzzle was confirmed. Divers located and recovered the white VW Polo from the Hennops River. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate stated, "They did check the VIN number, they did check the chassis number. This is indeed the vehicle, the VW Polo that we have been looking for."
We are confident that the team that the National Commissioner deployed there worked efficiently as they could, and hence the matter is now in the public in terms of the outcome. But we know that they haven't completed their job. There's still a number of aspects on the case that need to be found out so that we get to know all the aspects, including the families. National Commissioner will give us briefings as we move on with further details of the matter. And we are then urging the public to, although free to express themselves, but have compassion and sympathy with this sensitive matter, and not create wrong impressions about what has happened, and replace facts with speculation and just thinking of individuals.
I agree with the Minister, Senzo Mchunu, with regards to respecting the families during these trying times. Let us refrain from speculation. Let us refrain from creating conspiracy theories as to what might have happened to the 3 police officers. Let us let the law unfold. The investigation is underway. I'm hoping that by the end of the investigation, when it's all concluded, the SAPS will then be able to present the facts of the case to the public as it is now of public interest. I'm hoping that no more bodies are found in the river, as 5 bodies were found in totality. 3 from the recent accident of the 3 cops. 1 of the bodies found was a groundskeeper who also worked for the SAPS, and 1 could not be identified. And I'm saying I'm hoping no more bodies are found, not because I want missing people who may be in the river to not be found. I'm just hoping there aren't any more people in the river. The Hennops River does have a history of these kind of accidents. It floods a lot during heavy rainfall. Some of the conspiracy theories was that the guardrail was damaged 3 months ago. I'll post the image here. The guardrail was damaged 3 months ago as per Google image. But that area is a very high accident area. It's an accident zone, if you may. So the guardrails get damaged and then they get repaired and then they get damaged again. Please let us refrain from the conspiracy theories. Let's respect the families. Finally, this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I'll be producing video content of this nature and more. Thanks for watching. Peace.